It is time for football at 4, and I have to admit, my mind is in a pretzel right now. The Panthers have released outside linebacker K'Lavon Chaisson. Now, unimportantly, I feel like we were just getting good at pronouncing his name, K'Lavon Chaisson, which was not the easiest one to pronounce. So I thought we were going to have at least a season with it. More importantly, this is a weird move. This is a strange move. I brought up the contract here. It appears as if there will be, and I say only, but only, a $500,000 dead cap. So he was guaranteed $500,000. It came in a signing bonus. He then would have had a $2.5 million salary for the year. He also would have received $850,000 in per-game roster bonuses, a workout bonus, which I don't think he received because he was not working out at the facility this offseason. If you remember during the OTAs and minicamps this offseason, he was posting videos from working out, I think, in Texas.
I think he showed up to mandatory minicamp, but that was about it.
And so he's cut. They save a decent amount of money, about $2 million against the cap. But they're still on the hook for $500,000 against the cap, and that would have gone up with each roster bonus. It is concerning for this reason. Why now? Why the week of game 1? Why now? What did you learn about him now that you didn't know 2 weeks ago, or you didn't know on cutdown day, when you would have been able to maybe save or preserve or claim someone else off of waivers? Remember, they had the first priority in waivers on cutdown day. That could have been another name, or even in a different case, it might have allowed you to keep somebody that you had to cut if you only wanted to claim the guys you claimed off waivers. Mm-hmm. So there's the I bet you there's a story behind it. I don't know if we're ever going to hear it. And then the third thought, whatever we're up to now, I've been counting thoughts and I've lost track, is who the heck is going to rush the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers?
That was always a question.
It was a question when you had a guy that appeared to be worth $5 million to you on the roster. Now you take that guy away. There's Jadeveon Clowney. Confident in him. He showed out in camp. He's solid. Outside linebacker on one side. The interior defensive line, for the most part, we know what you're working with. We like. That other side, is it really Ekuliota? Is that what we're rolling with? And that's no disrespect to Ekuliota. That's just saying at best he is a hope for. He's not a sure thing at edge rusher. And this is a wildly important position in the NFL. You have to get after the quarterback. I'm going to name 3 of the first 4 quarterbacks the Panthers play. Derek Carr, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. There's a Vegas in the middle there, but we'll put Gardner Minshew in his own category.
Sure.
Those 3 guys especially, and actually Gardner Minshew is kind of this way too. If you give him time, they will pick you apart. I don't think Derek Carr is what he was at his peak. Right? Justin Herbert is coming off an injury, so he's less mobile than he has been in the past.
And his 2 top receivers are gone.
True. And Joe Burrow also dealing with an injury. Who knows if he'll have Jamar Chase? Probably by week 4, but not done yet. Like there's an element of you have to get after these pocket passers. You have to. And if it's not Chason, I feel like you should have cut bait and started finding out who it could be long before game week.
Well, I think part of it was to see what the waiver wire had, and I know they claimed Jamie Sheriff off waivers last week, so it's Ekuliota, DJ Johnson, and Jamie Sheriff. So it's like, well, you know what? K'Lavon Chaisson has 5 sacks in 4 seasons in his career. He didn't show us anything that gives us any sort of confidence, so let's go ahead and cut bait.
Do you know what it could have been? It could have been, and this is like a cheesy Instagram quote that somebody would post. They say flip when you have a big decision to make, flip a coin, not because you want the heads or tails to decide it, but because when it's in the air, you'll know what you're rooting for. Mm-hmm. It could have been a situation like that where they were like, all right, if we see an edge rusher we love, we'll claim them off waivers and we'll cut K'Lavon Chaisson. And then they didn't see an edge rusher they loved, so they kept K'Lavon Chaisson. And then like a week later, they were like, I was really hoping that we could have cut K'Lavon Chaisson. That's not a good sign, is it?
They probably looked at their roster going into the week going, all right, if everything's healthy, he's probably going to be a healthy and active. So why are we going to pay someone $5 million to be a healthy and active?
It's another good way to put it.
That might be it. It's like, well, he's not going to play special teams. He didn't do anything in the preseason to show us anything. The situation hasn't changed, whether you have him or not. So what's the point of maybe paying him all this money?
I think,
or maybe you look to bring him back on a practice squad or something. I don't know.
That's why it's so confusing, because it seems like you brought up that he had 4 sacks in 5 years or 5 sacks in 4 years?
5 sacks in 4 years.
You were always, from the moment you signed Chason, you were under the impression this guy was a reclamation project, a maybe we'll catch lightning in a bottle, right? Maybe we can squeeze whatever potential he showed early in his career. Like, this guy was never, you paid him that money because of what his perceived ceiling would be. I don't know if anybody thought it was likely that he'd reach it. I think he was the 20th pick in the draft. Pretty obvious the guy wasn't going to be a 20th pick in the draft producer. But you were hoping to get something out of it. Now all of a sudden it's game week. Like, you're getting ready for practice, and it's like, I don't know. I don't know if we can trust him. I'm like, well, you couldn't trust him before. He was always kind of a scratcher ticket.
I know that the team has talked about Lonnie Johnson, that they signed to their practice squad, about elevating him for week 1. If you're going to put him on the roster for your season, someone had to get let go. Lonnie Johnson being the defensive back. So maybe maybe one move has to happen in order for the other to take place.
Here's what we're now hoping for. Preseason game 1 Ekuliota is what Ekuliota actually is. Somebody like you brought up, Lonnie Johnson, is the dog that Dan Morgan is looking for, and he'll play above maybe what his physical attributes pedigree says he should. And then DJ Johnson wakes up. Again, a player who last year, hadn't done a ton, 3rd-round pick. You traded up for him. I mean, and here's the crazy part. Jadeveon Clowney, at this point in his career, shouldn't be playing every single snap.
No.
There's going to be points in time where you have Leota on one side and Johnson on the other, and those are your 2 edge rushers tasked with getting after the quarterback. These are the conversations, like the cold glass of waters to the face, that I think should lower expectations for the Panthers. This is why 6 wins is a good year for the Panthers. 5 wins is like, hey, you double and a half to your wins, things are moving in the right direction. This is why you can't expect above 500. You can't expect competing for the division. Because when you really look at it, with those plays when Jadeveon Clowney is out, you're going to expect the offense to have some success, because that's a very, very important position with very, very little proven ability on the Panthers roster.